We have a huge announcement. 5 years ago, exactly, in 2019, Parker and I had just finished our freshman year of high school, and we started a podcast called All Sports, All the Time.
Episode 9, I joined their podcast. I came on as a guest and somehow ended up sticking around, and 193 episodes later.
We're rebranding. Guys, we're focusing on the market that we love the best, the Philly sports market. All Sports All the Time is now having a subcategory. This podcast is going to be all Philly all the time.
Yes, sir!
We're talking about what we love. We love Philly sports. And now we're going to be dedicating this podcast to Philly sports. It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be fire.
I'm excited.
It's going to be amazing. And I'm excited for you guys to come along on the journey. And we're getting more specific.
Mm-hmm.
We already talk about Philly sports majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's just talk about them.
Because that wouldn't be a good name. Philly sports the majority of the time.
Exactly.
That doesn't roll off the tongue.
It does not. It doesn't go very well. So all Philly all the time.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, so this is all Philly all the time now. We're still keeping All Sports All the Time as like our overhead. That's still the brand. You could say I'd call it a company, but I don't think we're legit enough to be called a company.
An LLC?
No. Also, we don't really make enough money. Do you have to make a certain amount of money to qualify as a company?
No.
Anyway, the All Sports All the Time is still the overhead brand.
Any money to qualify as a
This is
No, you don't.
Good point.
Zillow, like publicly traded companies, like huge companies, have never had once a year of revenue, like where they actually make money.
Okay, so
That's their function.
So we are a company.
They function off of people buying their company, like buying shares of their company.
Oh.
But then they constantly lose money every single month. Yeah,
It's weird. So All Stocks All the Time is our other show that but it gives us the ability. We're keeping the All Sports All the Time. Like umbrella, and then tree, and then this is like a branch of it, all Philly all the time, and it gives us that naming capability of if we ever create another offshoot, it can be all Dallas all the time. Just kidding, we would never do that.
No,
we're
we're never doing that.
I was about to make a
basketball
comment that we're all
the time.
acorns on that tree. He might be the rotten acorn.
Why am I a rotten acorn?
Because you suggested Dallas.
Oh, okay. I mean, and that show would probably do pretty well right now because like Dallas is kind of on a roll. All their teams are making the conference championships except for the Cowboys. So we're good with that.
We are good with that.
Yeah, congratulations, Dallas Mavericks, making it to the finals. The first team that we talk about specifically on All Philly All the Time is the Dallas Mavericks.
Hey, that was you brought that up.
Because I think it's interesting how we hate the Dallas Cowboys. But, like, I'm fine with the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
Baseball doesn't have a Dallas team specifically, but, like, the Rangers and the Astros, like,
I don't like the Astros.
Well, that's a different, like, reasoning, though. It's specifically the Cowboys in Dallas.
Yeah.
The rest of Dallas,
really.
we're
not a
good.
big deal.
Just when it comes to the Cowboys. So, yeah, that's the thought process. All Sports All the Time, still there. This is All Philly All the Time. The podcast, a Philly sports podcast, whatever you want the colon and then description to be. I like a Philly sports podcast.
Yeah, I like that.
But then you have Philly in it twice. We'll get it figured out. Anyway, this is technically episode 2 of season 3.
Season 3, episode 2.
Which is
Unless
a little
episode 1
confusing.
intermediate.
Yeah, we might do that.
So then that says season
that was
3
just
starts
like
with 3
a
brand.
practice episode. Season 3 brand.
Season 3 brand.
That's a great term. I love that.
There we go. All right, so we'll switch that. This is episode 1 of the season 3 brand.
I
thought we were
all Philly all the time.
Yeah.
Woo! A Philly sports podcast.
We're going to get it figured out.
Let's get rolling.
Here we go.
Cue the intro. We don't have an intro, do we?
Ethan's got intro beats lined up for us that I'm going to send you guys today, and we need to pick one by the end of today.
Good, because
we're going to have new intro music and a new intro and new,
You need to
so now
compile
Carter's in the middle.
like, I don't know how much time you have and if you want to do this, but you need to compile a highlight reel of us essentially as the intro.
That would take
Have you ever
forever.
watched Dude Perfect Overtime?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what you need to do.
That would take a long time, but I could.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you if you wanted to. I think that'd be a sick intro, though.
Yeah.
And have it, cut
I don't
at
like
the end,
this.
cut into the
logo.
This is weird. Cut into the logo or something.
This is very
This is
weird.
very weird.
This is very
And
weird.
however many
I
years
don't-
I've
I
done
don't
this,
like
we've
this.
never sat in
It
this
feels like I'm looking at the
orientation.
camera too directly. I don't like it.
We did this one
Feels
time
too-
before. Was it in season 2? The weirdest episode of season 2, like the one that we were in person, where we switched spots and we acted like each other.
Oh yeah. The other time was when Leah came on and she sat in between us. That was the only time I was.
This feels so weird. I don't like it.
Welcome to the middle, Parker.
Luke is too close.
If you're watching on YouTube, oh wow, I'm sorry, Luke. If you're watching on
I'm just kidding, I'm
YouTube,
just kidding.
Parker is in the middle because episode 1 is Parker's Phillies crash course.
Yes.
As an all Philly sports podcast, we find the need to each be very familiar with each of the Philadelphia teams. Therefore, Parker is getting his Phillies crash course this week. In the coming weeks, I will be receiving my Sixers crash course. And in the even more coming weeks, we will all be receiving a Flyers crash course because, sadly enough, we don't know enough about that beautiful, beautiful hockey team known as the Philadelphia Flyers and their mascot, Gritty.
Owen is pretty well versed. Owen's pretty well versed in a majority of the Philly sports teams. He's very well
still need
rounded.
the Flyers.
He still needs the Flyers.
We all need a little Flyers.
I really need help. We all need the Flyers. I really need help with the Phillies because I'm a huge basketball, football guy. But if we're going full into Philly sports talk, I need to learn more about the Philly sports baseball team, which is the Philadelphia Phillies. Right?
So he does know the name. That's a good.
That's a good.
I know the name.
start. Yep.
Next up, do you know their mascot?
Yep, it's the green gentleman.
What's his name?
The Philly Fanatic.
There we go.
Yeah, I forgot it right
Good
off the
start.
bat, but I
Good recovery.
gentleman
Good
is-
what's
recovery.
it called
the
when
green
you
giant.
when you talk filibustered? I
Yeah.
filibustered until I found
Yep.
it.
Philly bustard.
Philly
I
Buster.
filibustered. I filibustered.
Bad. Not like that.
I like your reenaction of the grid.
Yeah, so now we're even.
Yeah, now we're even now.
If we're giving Parker a crash course, I feel like it's like a class. We should probably break this up into subjects. We can give.
Of course.
I can teach you the math, which is understanding. That's kind of a baseball thing, but like the positional numbers, and also the Phillies players' numbers, some kind of numbers around the game. Numbers. That would be the math class.
Yeah.
I think we can work together on the history section. We can teach you about the history of the Phillies. English, I guess, just like pronouncing the names. I don't know if that
guess.
one's super important. Baseball terminology. That's
English,
English.
I better
all the
not have a
abbreviations.
test. I better not have
all
a
the
test.
abbreviations.
That too.
It's like AVG,
Yeah.
OPS,
Yeah,
that kind of
stat abbreviations, phrases,
Yeah.
like terminology.
Yep.
Okay. Science. I feel like that's you, Luke, but I don't know,
I don't know
in
what
what
baseball
capacity
science
baseball
is.
science.
The
The
physics of how a
velocity-
baseball
velocity.
is thrown. I don't
Why
know.
hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
Anyway,
making it
this is
half
our
court
crash
shots,
course,
sorry.
not yours. Okay, what?
The Kyrie's left-handed hook shot that he had earlier this year
The
is harder.
hardest
Hitting a
standard
baseball.
thing to do in sports,
Yeah.
you don't have to take a left-handed hook shot in basketball to score.
You
You
always
need
have
to hit a baseball in order to score.
Anyway,
Not true. No, what if
That-
you get
Okay,
walked?
that's not realistic baseball.
You get walked all the way.
That's not realistic baseball.
Hey, I'm just saying you don't have to do it in order to score.
then you don't have to take that crazy shot in order to score. You can
Also-
shoot a free throw. Anyway,
Owen and Luke, they love baseball, right? You know, and I do love baseball, but basketball and football are so much better. So I hope that I don't fail this class, but I'm looking forward to it.
that's a great. We really started off on the right foot.
Yeah, but I'm not taking a test. I'll tell you that.
That's okay. We don't need you to take a test.
Good.
We'll have him take a Sporkle quiz at the end or something. So yeah, what do you want to? What subject should we start
I
with?
feel like we need to start with history. I feel
Okay,
like that's, like,
I think
just
that-
know the history. Of the
that makes
Phillies.
sense. All right.
Go ahead, lead us off.
The Phillies were founded as a team in 1883.
But you gotta ask me these questions. I
I just
knew the
assumed you
answer.
didn't know that.
No, I knew that.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
1883
impressed.
is
Not
the
trying
year
to
they were
believe you,
founded.
but I'm impressed.
1883.
So yeah, they
No,
were.
actually, I had no clue. That I'm just gonna be honest. I had no clue. That's a long time ago.
Yes,
That's
they
like
are.
before the Great Depression.
Luke, if you you have your phone on you. If you could fact check a couple of things for me while I'm going through this.
Where'd they used to play? What stadium? Did they play in the same stadium?
I don't know their first stadium. The first one that I know of was Connie Mack Stadium because their owner was Connie Mack. Not an egotistical guy at all. And they had...
Is that a sarcastic?
I mean, he named a stadium after himself.
Oh.
So,
They had this one really good left-handed hitter, and so he intentionally made the right field fence way closer and taller so that he could hit more home runs for them.
That's smart.
I wish I remembered his name. I want to say Del Unser, but I'm not positive that's who it was. But yeah, so like Connie Mack Stadium is known for having like a very close right field with a tall wall, but it didn't matter because you just hit home runs over it.
Does that stadium still exist today, or
No, that is long gone.
Okay.
They played in Veterans Stadium for a long time. That was
32 years to be exact.
Yes, that was where they won their first World Series. So they were founded in 1883. They won their first World Series in 1980.
Dang,
So-
did they suck for like 100 years?
Yes,
Yeah.
pretty much. They were very bad for a lot of years. They lost, I think, 2 or 3 World Series in those 97 years. They won their first one in 1980. Took them 97 years, but they did it. And then they made the World Series in 1993. And then they won the World Series in 2008. So they have 2 World Series in since 1883, which is quite sad.
That's pretty bad.
Because they're so old and haven't won so much, they became, in like the early 2010s, they became the first North American sports team to reach 10,000 losses in their history.
Wow,
So that's a thing.
yeah, that's really bad. So the Phillies suck is what I'm hearing.
Historically,
Yes.
yeah, they're one of the oldest teams with the least success.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
in all of North American sports, not just in baseball.
So they were born to be a Philly team.
their franchise just is just down the drain, basically.
Well, in the present day, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Playoffs.
But when you put it
over
in
their
this
history,
perspective, it
yes, in the
sounds
perspective of the history of the Phillies, they've not been a successful franchise.
no, that doesn't sound very.
A historic one, but not historically successful.
I do know some Philly sports players that used to play.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tell me about the Phillies players that you know of.
Okay,
Non-current.
Chase Utley.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only one that I was thinking of.
You ever heard of Mike Schmidt?
He played in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember.
70s and 80s.
I have baseball cards of him.
Okay.
So I know who that is. Nolan Ryan.
He played, but he was not on the Phillies.
What?
Unfortunately.
No, I
It'd be
remember
great if
Nolan
he
Ryan.
was. Steve Carlton was on the Phillies
Steve Carlton.
at the same era. The Phillies.
Are you sure Nolan Ryan wasn't a...
He was not a Philly.
Okay.
The Phillies beat Nolan Ryan in the NLCS in 1980 to go to the World Series.
I thought
They had to face him.
Speaking of like Cole Hamels or Roy Halladay or
Roy Halladay. I've heard that
Okay,
name
there you go.
before. I've heard
There you
it
go.
before. Was he an outfielder or an infielder?
Pitcher.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. What about any other guys? Who are the historic?
Yeah, okay, so could you pull up Luke who's on the Phillies Wall of Fame? Because that's like the official, the most important people. Their retired jerseys, Mike Schmidt, 20. I believe Richie Ashburn's is retired. Sorry, I need you to change your search. Whose numbers are retired for the Phillies? Mike Schmidt with 20. Jackie Robinson's 42 is retired for everybody.
Jackie Robinson?
He didn't play for the Phillies, but
No.
it's retired
Wait,
for
what?
everyone.
What do
In the
you-
league.
entire MLB.
Why'd they
retired.
retire?
Because he's
That
Jackie
makes no
Robinson.
sense.
What
What did Jackie Robinson?
he broke the color barrier.
Oh, okay. That's...
Yeah.
Number 1 is retired.
Okay, and that's Ashburn, Richie Ashburn.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Jim Bunning.
okay.
Number 14.
He threw a perfect game with the Phillies. That's his big thing.
Dick Allen, number 15.
Dick.
Mike Schmidt, number 20. Steve Carlton, number 32. Roy Halladay, number 34.
Which is impressive because he only played for the Phillies for like 4 seasons, maybe 5 seasons. But he was so good in those seasons
good.
Oh, wow.
that they retired it.
Robin Roberts,
Oh yeah.
36. Grover Cleveland, Alexander.
Wait,
Sounds
he was
like
a president.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
crazy.
It doesn't even say
Not
his
him,
number.
So he
but
was the president.
It doesn't even say his number.
just Grover Cleveland Alexander's. What? Okay.
Okay, yeah, Jackie Robinson. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's it.
Whatever Grover Cleveland Alexander's number was, maybe he's so old that they didn't really have jersey numbers, which is actually possible because
Very possible.
the Yankees like popularized it in like the 20s, and I think he pitched like before that, so the 1920s.
Wow.
So he might not have had. I don't know. So yeah, those are the retired.
That's not
numbers.
a very impressive list, honestly.
Honestly, no. And that again, we're gonna in this history class, you're learning that the Phillies' history is
I
not
didn't
that
know
impressive.
they sucked that bad. I just remember watching them. I only watched them in the playoffs, and they're like, they're
good
going
in the
crazy.
playoffs.
Yeah, they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
So I thought
modern history.
so they
is
actually
pretty good.
kind of suck.
The Bryce Harper era. So some important eras
Yes.
to know about. The team in 1950 was called the Whiz Kids. because
Whiz Wit.
They were the young. That is a Philly term. They were the youngest team in the league, and they were really good. And they went to the World Series and they lost. And then that team they were really young, so they thought they were going to win a World Series, but then it kind of fell apart, and they didn't win a World Series. And then in 1980, they won the World Series with who were the most important guys for him to know in the 1980 first Phillies championship ever. Mike Schmidt,
For
star.
sure. Mike Schmidt's probably the most important name on that
Steve
team.
Carlton.
Steve Carlton.
ace. And then the other guys, Larry Boa is an icon in Phillies lore. He was their shortstop. He was like a hothead, fiery guy who Philly loved. He's still with the organization. He's stayed around the Phillies the whole rest of his life. Lenny Dykstra was in the night. Greg Luzinski, that's what I was thinking of. The Bull. He was this big burly guy who hit a lot of home runs and was terrible at defense.
Okay.
So kind of like Kyle Schwarber,
pretty much.
Okay, gotcha.
with a little more
That was
personality.
before they had DHs in the NL.
Yeah, so he was stuck in left field.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of great guys on that team because it's an iconic team because they won the first championship. Other important guy, Tug McGraw, father of Tim McGraw, country singer.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he was their closer. He got the final out
Wow.
for the championship.
Dang, he did that, and he had a kid.
He did do that. Those are his two
College
accomplishments
players
in
that have
life.
kids, Parker.
Yes. You've heard of Pete Rose?
Yeah.
He was on the Phillies 1980. He's known for being on the Reds, but he was on the Phillies 1980 championship team. Yeah. He was a big off-season acquisition for them, either in 79 or it might have been in 80. That was his first year with the team.
Okay.
So yeah, that team was pretty iconic. And then in 1983, that same team was aging, and their core was pretty old, and so they were called the Wheeze Kids. And they in 83 they made it to the World Series, but they lost to the Orioles.
Okay.
And that was cool because the Orioles and the Phillies are super close. So an away game, both teams traveled. That could happen again this year. Just saying, both of the teams are very good. 1993 is the other iconic team. They made it to the World Series. That's the team that, have you heard of John Kruk?
No.
Oh, we got it. We might have to do
We gotta pull some John.
another
Kruk.
episode. We might have to do just teach Parker about John Kruk. He's the Phillies Bill Walton.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
He wasn't as good as Bill Walton.
Moment of silence. real quick.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
No, moment of silence. I think
Okay, intermission. Bill Walton was somebody who in the early days of All Sports All the Time we were kind of obsessed with, and he's awesome, and he died. So that's sad.
That is very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rest
in peace, Bill. Rest in peace.
John Kruk will carry on the mantle, I guess, for the Phillies. He wasn't as good of a baseball player as Bill Walton was a basketball player, but he was a good baseball player. And now he's the Phillies color guy, and he's hilarious.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. One time, I think in an All-Star game, John Kruk's famous quote. A reporter asked him. He wasn't the most in shape guy. A reporter asked him "What do you think this example is for kids when athletes are not in great shape?" And he was like, "Ma'am, I'm not an athlete. I'm a baseball player." And so that's the John Kruk quote. Which unfortunately kind of goes along with Parker's thing about you can just walk around the bases.
Exactly. Yeah.
So John Kruk might be your favorite player. So you can make the case that baseball is easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an athlete.
No, you don't. Just look at. I mean, you've got lots of guys like Schwarber and John Kruk and
All of them. All those guys.
And this big burly guy in left field. That would be
Bull.
the Bull.
Yeah. Oh, also, the Bull, next time we go to Phillies game, we can point that he has a restaurant at the Phillies.
Is it called the Bull?
It's like Bull's
Actually
barbecue,
didn't know
right?
that. I didn't
Bull's
know that.
barbecue.
I didn't know that was after
I
him.
think that's what. Yeah, yeah. He's back there, like not all the time, but that's his. Yeah.
Wow.
Apologies if I'm getting any of this stuff wrong. It's off the top of my head, so comment any adjustments. Please fact check me on any of this.
All right, Luke, help me out with more of the
I gotta tell them about the 2008 team, the last team.
Oh, okay.
So in '93, they made it to the World Series. They lost because they gave up a walk-off home run,
Ooh.
which sucked.
In Game 7?
In Game 6.
Oh.
But still, yeah. Gave up a walk-off home run to lose it, so that's a terrible way to lose. And then 2008, they won a championship again with Chase
Bryce
Utley.
Harper?
No, unfortunately. Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins were kind of like the core guys of that team. Pitching staff was led by Cole Hamels, who's a Phillies legend. And that team made it to the World Series, won the World Series in 2008, made it to the World Series in 2009, lost. And then won 100 games in 2011. So, like, they had a really good run. Roy Halladay, who we said his numbers retired in 2010, he pitched a perfect game in the regular season. And then in the postseason, he threw a no-hitter.
Wow.
He was the second ever guy to throw a no-hitter in the postseason in Major League history.
That's
And then the third guy did it.
He was
last
insane.
year.
Yeah.
Not last year.
Against the Phillies.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the current team we'll get into later. So, off to Luke for the next part of the crash course.
Well, what am I doing? There's no science to share.
Yeah, you got math and English.
I guess I'll do English. When you're looking at a baseball stat sheet, there's a lot of abbreviations, as there is in any
I know
sport.
them all.
You know them all?
Yep.
Oh boy.
All right, I'm going to pull up ESPN, and we're going to go through each and every stat for 2 minutes before I have to leave, because I really have to leave.
Yeah, I know every stat and abbreviation that there is to know, like
While Luke's looking that up.
BPM
Yep, beats per minute.
Beats per minute?
or
Yep. While Luke's looking that up, do you know what a
ESPN.
sack fly is?
yeah.
Some terms.
What is it?
What's a sack fly?
You basically just hit it up in the air and it gets caught, but it advances the base runner.
There you go.
That was good.
That's a great way to put it.
Good job, Parker.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, what's GP?
I mean,
Games played.
There you go.
across sports.
AB.
At bat.
There you go. R.
Are runs.
H.
H home run. No, that's HR. Hits.
Yep.
Hits.
We'll group these 2B, 3B, HR.
Second base. Or
I mean, when you get
when
hit,
you,
and
when
get
you get to
second base.
yeah,
That's
so
called
first
a-
base,
Oh.
third base,
What's it
double,
called? Yeah,
triple,
there you go. Yeah.
double, triple,
You said HR was home run.
home runs,
RBI.
runs batted in.
There you go.
Crushing it.
BB.
BB,
That one's kind of messed up.
That one is messed up.
BB. I don't know that one.
It's a walk.
What?
Base on balls.
Base on balls.
What?
You get to base on balls.
Okay.
SO.
Or K.
Strikeout.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
SB.
I don't know that one either.
Stolen bases.
Stolen base.
AVG.
Average.
OBP.
On base percentage.
There we go.
SLG.
Slugger percentage.
Slugging. There
Slugging.
you go.
Very close.
Yeah.
OPS.
If you get this one,
This one's, this one, I don't think you'll go.
Yes. Isn't it like combining like your pitches or no?
So
It
close.
combines
pitching stats,
hits and
too.
walks.
No, it's your on base plus slugging percentage.
Oh,
I actually have no idea what the algorithm is to calculate it, but
it's your on base percentage plus your slugging.
Oh, it's literally just them added together.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What you're
I'm
thinking of, Parker, is whip.
Yeah.
Walks,
Yeah.
the amount of walks plus hits per inning that a pitcher allows.
okay. Walks plus.
And then, what pitching ones would be whip, ERA.
Earned run average.
Yeah. That's pretty. There's ERA plus that people use. That's just there's OPS plus and ERA plus, which is just like it takes the average, and the average is 100, and then like so if somebody has a 110 ERA or OPS plus, they're 10% better.
I have to go.
Adios, Luke. Have fun.
Good job, Parker.
See you, Luke.
Chick-fil-A.
Make sure you get him knowing all the information.
I'll do my best.
Next week and quiz Parker and.
Oh yeah, we gotta quiz him next week.
No, I
To
don't
see how
want
much
to.
he learned.
I'm gonna
Or create a Phillies quiz.
No.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a Phillies Kahoot. That's
Oh,
gonna be
no.
extensive.
Oh no.
Maybe that'll be a separate video. Do we rearrange how we're sitting?
I think
now?
we should. We should take away his chair.
Off-centered to yours. Yeah. We can scoot in. So yeah, that was the stats. We went over those. SVs save. A relief pitcher gets a save at the end of a game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the team is winning and they hold on. I think if it's 4 runs or 5 runs. If they're winning by more than that, it doesn't count as a save because it's like you were up by too much. That's too easy.
But what if you come back and you're a reliever? Is there a stat for that?
What do you mean if you come back?
Like if you're down and then the reliever comes in and you get a win.
Oh, like the other team's reliever? That would be a blown save.
No.
If they give up the lead.
No, if they're losing and the reliever comes in
And then later, okay.
and they end up winning because
Yeah.
is that called a
The reliever would probably get the win.
he would get the win.
Yeah.
So then would the person he came in for get a blown win?
If nothing is like blown, no, you don't get a blown win. No, sorry. It's just you get the win, and then nobody cares about who could have gotten the win.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Wins used to be like a very important stat because people are like, well, you gotta win. But recently, not so much because people have realized like, well, the pitchers can't like fully control. Like there were some guys who would pitch really great, like they'd pitch 6 innings, no runs, but their team wouldn't score either. So they wouldn't get a win because their team. So yeah, it'd be like this guy has a 2 ERA and 10 wins, and this guy has a 4 ERA and 15 wins. Who's better? And for a long time, they would say the guy with 15 wins because he won 15 games.
Right.
But then with like analytics and stuff in the 2000s, they were like, well, I'd rather have the guy who gives up 2 runs every 9 innings instead of the guy who gives up 4. That guy was just lucky because the offense scored for him. So anyway, that's a tangent. I got to be careful not to go on too many tangents with this. Baseball terminology. You crushed it with sack fly.
Sack fly.
Yeah.
Knew that one.
We learned base on balls is the same as walks.
Walks.
It's a little
Yep.
tough one. You know what a double play is?
Yep. I've seen lots of
Yep.
those. Have you seen a triple play though?
I have not live,
I haven't live,
but
I saw highlights
yeah. Triple plays are crazy. You ever seen an unassisted triple play?
where like you run to each base.
It's where one guy gets 3 guys out by himself.
Really?
It pretty much has only. It's happened like double-digit times, I think.
Wow.
The only scenario where it happens, really, I think like pretty much every single time it's happened, it's a middle infielder, so a second baseman or shortstop. It has to be in like a perfect scenario for it to work. Perfect storm. It has to be the runner on first. There's runners on first and second. And the runner on first and the runner on second both have to be going. So the ball gets hit, they both go. It's a line drive, the guy catches it, 1 out, steps on the base to get the runner on second out, and then tags the guy coming from first.
Wow.
And so he gets all 3 outs
Well,
by
because
himself.
why would that guy be running though? Why would that guy be running?
Well,
if he saw that it was caught.
If he was stealing and he was already going, or if it was a hit and run, so that's a term. Sometimes they'll do a hit and run where it's like the base runner, like they have signs, they're like, okay, we're doing a hit and run here. So the batter's going to swing, hopefully hit it. And it's a risk you take because obviously if he doesn't, you could get thrown out or something. But the advantage is if he hits it, the runner has a huge head start because he's already running.
Right.
And he can get farther around the bases.
Gotcha.
So yeah, either hit and run, or they just it's like a hard hit line drive, and so they thought that the ball was gonna get past him, but he catches it, or they're stealing. So those are the 3. So unassisted triple plays are insane. Yeah, there's a whole lot of terms that we could go over, and that would take forever. But I think you know the basics, so that's important. We don't have to go past the basics.
I know the basics, like the positions, like outfielders, infielders,
Yeah.
pitcher,
Mhm.
designated hitter,
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani. He's kind of in his own class.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a position in himself.
The Shohei Ohtani's his own. Yeah. The terms, we'll move on from that. So then we said math. Field dimensions. How many feet between each base?
Probably like a bunch of feet, like in between each one. So I don't know the exact amount.
90 feet.
90 feet.
90
Okay.
feet all the way around. And then from the pitcher's mound, the rubber, to home plate is 60 feet, 6 inches.
Okay, why did
I don't know why it's 6 inches.
Okay.
I don't know why they did that.
But if you have a longer arm, you can get closer.
Yes. Yeah. And
So I've seen
like
guys
taller pitchers, not always, but yeah, a lot of pitchers are taller.
right, and I've seen them like step forward, almost like off the mound.
Yeah.
When they like lunge forward.
Mhm.
So then it's actually like probably closer.
Yeah, and that's like some guys throw the same speed, technically in miles per hour, but one guy is like way closer to home plate when he releases, so hitters think it feels faster because it is. He's starting closer.
Right.
Phillies specifically, numbers wise, there's not really like with football, certain positions have to be certain numbers. Generally, that's not a thing. Pitchers almost always wear double digits. There's hardly any pitchers who wear single digits. So pitchers generally have like the higher numbers. Position players have the lower numbers.
Gotcha.
So that's pretty much it. We won't go over all the Phillies players' numbers. That's not the most important thing. Back to history class. The current squad, we'll call it the Bryce Harper era. In 2019, the Phillies signed Bryce Harper to the largest contract a baseball player has ever signed.
I remember we were in school when that happened, and
Yeah.
I remember you were going crazy at that moment. Like,
Yeah.
we were walking down the hallway. I think in like it was like gym hallway or whatever. I think when you found
That might have been the day after. I found out.
okay.
I found out on the bus
Oh, you found
at
it
the
on
end of the
bus.
school day.
Oh, I remember talking to you about it in the gym hall.
Probably the next day.
Yeah.
Because it was a long time. It was drawn out. Like it took the whole free agency period. They signed him in like February, a month before spring training or something like that. 13 years, $330 million. He specifically chose no opt-outs in the contract because he was like, I want to be here
Right.
for the whole time.
Right.
And
That's crazy.
it was a little interesting because he was on the Nationals his whole career, and they're in the same division as the Phillies. So that was a little weird at first. It's like this guy was our rival, and he always crushed us, and we hated him. But now he's with us, and he's really good, and we like him. A lot of people said it was an overpay because he had kind of not been great the past couple of years. It seemed like he was declining a little bit, but since joining the Phillies, he's been amazing. He won an MVP with them in 2021. Or 2022.
And they almost
One of those two.
almost won the World Series.
Yep, they've built a really good team around Bryce Harper. And so when he joined them, they were like just coming out of their rebuild, and it was like, okay, now we got Bryce Harper, we're ready to go. But then in 2019, they were 500. 2020 was a shortened season. They didn't make the playoffs. 2021, they were like 500 again. And it's like, oh man, they can't, like, these rosters are good and they can't push through. And then 2022, it was looking the same, but they finally had a good stretch.
Once they fired, what's his name?
Yep, they had Joe Girardi as their manager.
Yeah, once they fired Joe Girardi.
They started off bad, fired him, brought in Rob Thompson, or they had Rob Thompson, promoted Rob Thompson from bench coach to manager, and they turned it around from there. It took them a while to dig out of that hole, but they finished the season strong, went into the playoffs. As we all know, they crushed the Braves. They beat the Cardinals in a series that we don't remember as much, but they crushed the Braves then. And then they went to beat the Padres in the NLCS, and then unfortunately lost to the Astros in the World Series. And then last year, they kind of did the same thing. And they didn't beat the Braves for the division because the Braves won 104 games.
It's a lot of games.
But then they beat the Braves in the playoffs anyway, but then lost to the Diamondbacks in a series that they choked. They were up 3-2.
Yeah, how did you lose that? Wait, did they lose in the conference finals?
Yeah, it's leagues. So the American League and National League, they lost in the National League championship. Yeah, so the Diamondbacks got to go to the World Series. The Phillies were up 3-2, and they blew it at home, which sucked.
It choked. I remember that.
Honestly, more hurtful than the 2022 World Series loss because like, they should have.
They should have. And then the Diamondbacks ended up losing now.
Yep.
To
the Rangers.
To the Rangers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean the ALCS is better than the NLCS?
Not necessarily. Both the leagues are pretty even, the AL and the NL.
Okay. I don't understand why there is leagues like that. Like, shouldn't it just be like every team just plays each other equally?
I mean, all the other leagues have it as well. I know they used to have it. Well, even they used to have divisions so that it would make it easier if like travel wasn't as easy. So like they had divisions for that, like regional. Right. I don't know. The NFL did American and National because they merged two leagues.
Right.
Like they were separate things, and then they became the NFL. So I honestly, I think baseball might have been the same. I think they might have like merged.
And they just kept it.
National baseball and American baseball, and then National League and American League.
But it's all under one MLB, right? Major
League
Baseball. Right.
Correct. Just like, the NFC and AFC. The NL and the AL are just like NFC and AFC.
Okay.
And then you got divisions, the East, the Central, and the West.
Gotcha.
There's three.
And
we should talk about the Phillies division, because that's an important part of the Phillies contest.
There's the Nationals, you just said.
Yep.
There's the Braves.
Yep.
There's the Phillies.
Yep.
The Orioles.
The Orioles are in the AL.
They're in the AL.
Yeah.
So the Braves,
Yep.
Nationals, Phillies, Blue Jays.
And the New York Mets.
Oh, the Mets.
And the Miami Marlins.
Oh, the Miami Marlins? That's not anywhere close to...
I mean, the Miami Dolphins are in the East. It's East Coast.
Oh, okay.
So they Atlanta's not actually I think Atlanta's closer to Miami than the rest. So it's the
Marlins aren't very good.
No, they're not. But fun thing about the Marlins, they've only been around since 1993, and they've won 2 World Series. And the Phillies have been around since 1883, and they've won 2 World Series.
Oh gosh, the Phillies suck.
Yeah. That's the lesson here. The Phillies historically have not been good,
they're really
which is why right now is so fun, because they just became the first team in baseball to get to 40 wins this year.
And so what are they on pace for? What are they on pace for? How many wins?
Oh man, I don't know. We'd have to
if you extrapolate it out.
Yeah, what's 40 divided by 58?
40 here.
We'd have to get their win percentage and then multiply that by 162.
Okay.
And that would be.
So it looks like
they're on an insane pace.
40 divided by what?
58. So that's a 690 winning percentage.
Right, and how many games are played?
162.
Times 0.69.
Okay, so that's 112. The Major League record, the most wins in a 162-game season, was in 2001. The Seattle Mariners won 116 games in the regular season. And then they didn't even make it to the ALCS.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
They choked against the Yankees in
they
the
choked.
playoffs. Yeah.
And so explain to me in baseball terms why certain teams have so much money to pay people and other teams have no money. Because there's a salary cap in sports. Like in basketball, you can't have one team that just spends so much more than another team. Same with football. Like, I'm sure some of these owners would, if they could, just spend insane amounts of money to get the best people, but they can't. So why does baseball allow certain owners to just pay ridiculous amounts of money and just like the salary cap, even though it probably exists, doesn't come into play at all? Like teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers, like they can literally get whoever they want. It doesn't matter because they can just defer like contracts and I don't think that makes the game fair. So like, I don't understand it. Explain that to me.
So the MLB Players Association is the strongest, generally, Players Association amongst the different leagues. So they've been firm in no salary cap. That's an MLB Players Association stance. Because if there's a salary cap, that limits how much the players can get paid. So they want the players to get paid as much as possible. So they've stood firm on no salary cap. We don't want that.
Okay.
What the league has done to balance things out a little bit, because there is a huge disparity between the top teams and the worst teams, they do have revenue sharing I can't fully explain how revenue sharing works, but a percent of money that the bigger teams make does go to the smaller teams to balance the scales a little bit. So they've done some work on that to level the playing field a bit and close the gap.
So it's a
There is
players
still a big gap.
association thing.
Yes.
So explain that to me. Like how much power do the players actually have?
Again, like in other sports, compared to other sports, the MLB Players Association does a very good job supporting and defending its players.
Okay.
The recent meeting is having, but historically they've done a lot. Like the MLB was the first league to do free agency.
Okay.
Because there was Kurt Flood and then other players who stood up to the owners, because before free agency it was just like the owners had so much power over
Right.
So then eventually through a bunch of fighting they got to free agency, and then other leagues
But
followed.
shouldn't it be so explain to me, does baseball actually generate more revenue than basketball and football?
No, because it's not as popular.
So then how do the players make more money?
Like a contract for Shohei Ohtani of being
Right, but then there's also on a baseball team, there's so many more people than on a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
So like how does that work out?
Well, because there's no salary cap.
Right.
Like NBA players, if there was no salary cap, probably would make insane amounts.
So then shouldn't there be a salary cap or no?
Well, because the players don't want a salary cap.
I know.
They don't.
But I'm saying it doesn't matter what they want. They'll still make a lot of money.
Mhm.
But
they want to make as much money as possible. And so.
But then that affects the whole sport though.
Mhm.
So like I don't get it. Shouldn't you do what's best for the sport?
No.
No?
That's not what the Players Association is there for.
Oh.
It's there to protect the players.
Oh,
Not because the players need somebody to be looking out for them, because if not, the owners will just do whatever. Like there's got to be a balance, and that's the unfortunate thing about baseball is for the last 20 years there's been some rough, or over 20 years there's been some 30 years there's been some rough disputes. The 1995 season didn't finish. There's no champion because there was a strike by the players, and so they've had a lot of disputes between the players and the owners over the last 30 years. They're anticipating there's going to be another one coming up in a couple of seasons. I forget when, but very soon there's going to be threats of another strike, and they're going to fight again soon.
Why? That doesn't make for a good product.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But
what about the sports betting? What about the infamous sports
Pete Rose?
Yeah, well, there also
there was
an entire championship that was rigged.
Oh yeah, the Black Sox.
Yeah, the Black Sox
in 1919.
Yeah,
that was they were paid off by people to intentionally lose the World Series, and so that's the White Sox, now nicknamed the Black Sox, that team. And then Pete Rose, it was found that he gambled on games that he played in or was affiliated with, and so he's not allowed in the Hall of Fame. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s, we had the steroid scandal, where a bunch of players were using steroids.
Right.
And so
which I don't quite understand that, because they probably still are using steroids, a lot of them.
I mean, they test for it. They do PED testing.
I know, but it's probably pretty easy to get around that.
I have no idea how easy it is to get around.
Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, wow. All right, so we're here at the Phillies Crash Course episode. Parker is going to accuse Kyle Schwarber of using steroids.
I'm just kidding. But Kyle Schwarber is insane. Do you see how far he hits the baseball?
Yes, he's amazing.
What about that guy that got fired when Kyle Schwarber was hitting hit a home run or something? Did you see that?
A guy got fired when Kyle Schwarber was hitting a home run?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Because you haven't seen that? It was a couple of years ago.
I have no idea.
You haven't seen that?
What is it?
It was I'm resigning because he had just said
oh, okay, yeah, that was that was the Reds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, their broadcaster.
Oh, their
had
broadcaster.
accidentally said something when he thought they weren't live, but they were live.
Right.
And then he was giving his apology, and Nick Castellanos,
Oh, Nick
who
Castellanos.
was on the Reds, hit a home run in the middle of his apology, and now that's a running thing.
Yeah.
With Nick Castellanos is like
He's on the
anytime
Phillies
he
now,
hits a
though.
home run,
He's on the
it's
Phillies.
because something tragic happened.
Yeah. He's on the Phillies now, though, right?
Castellanos, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
So that brings us up to date with the Phillies
yes.
to currently where we stand, where you have in the batting order, you have Rojas.
Should we go like? You want me to go by position or like the actual batting order or like how do you want me to go
position.
through?
Go position.
Okay, catcher JT Realmuto.
No, I want to guess it.
Catcher
JT Realmuto.
nailed it. First base.
And he's like the best catcher in the league.
He's very good. He's up there, top there.
Okay. First baseman is Bryce Harper.
Yep.
Bryce Harper's first base.
Second base.
Second base is Alec Bohm.
No, close.
No.
Another young guy. You witnessed a home run of his in person when
Yes.
you asked us why he's doing so bad because he was a rookie.
Yeah. I know who he
His
is.
walk-up music is the most popular on the team.
No, I know. Living in a big blue world, my head up and down the space, and then I'll be okay. He's got like longer hair.
Yep.
He wears a headband.
Yep.
What's
Bryson Stott.
Bryson Stott? Yeah, Bryson Stott. Okay, he's second base.
Shortstop.
Shortstop is Alex
Captain
Bohm.
America.
Oh, Captain America. Nick Castellanos.
No. Trey Turner.
Trey Turner. Oh, he's the new guy.
Yep, they just signed him to a massive contract
Okay.
last offseason. And then he struggled at the beginning of the year, like adjusting, new team, Phillies, tough place to play. And then they gave him a standing ovation at the beginning of August. Like the fans organized, whenever Trey comes up this game, we're going to give him a standing ovation to show him that
August?
we're with him. Yeah, last year.
Oh, last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he turned it around. It was amazing since. So that was like a really cool Philly story. All-time moment in Philly history.
That is cool.
Third base is Alec Bohm.
Alec Bohm, third
Base.
base. Yep.
Yep. Left field.
Left field is Schwarber. Nope. Wait, no, I got it. I know. That guy. He's bigger, strong.
Yep.
What's his name? I forget his name.
Brandon Marsh.
Brandon Marsh, yeah.
Yep.
Midfield,
Center field.
center field is
You already said him.
Nick Castellanos. Oh, Kyle Schwarber.
If Kyle Shore was playing center field, the Phillies would be screwed.
Rojas.
There you go.
Rojas,
Yep.
center.
Mhm.
And then Nick Castellanos is in
Right
left-
field.
Right field.
Yep. And then Kyle Schwarber is the DH, the designated hitter.
Designated hitter.
So he'll just hit.
And then the pitching staff,
Yep.
you got my favorite guy, the Julian guy, or Julio. What's his name?
I don't think they have a Julio.
No, he's my favorite guy. He's like a backup. He's a reliever or something.
I don't think they have a reliever named Julio eitr Jose?
No.
They have Jose Alvarado, big
Oh,
lefty.
Jose
throws
Alvarado.
gas.
Jose Alvarado. That guy.
He's probably their best reliever.
Oh, I like him.
One of their best
Jose
relievers.
Alvarado is my favorite.
Oh,
He's my
wow.
favorite pitcher.
Okay. I was not expecting that.
Yep. He's my favorite one.
Their starting rotation is the best in the league right
Okay.
now. It's Zach Wheeler,
Zach Wheeler. You have the guy that has long, flowy hair,
Aaron Nola.
Aaron Nola.
Beautiful hair.
And then you have the new guy they picked up,
They picked up Spencer Turnbull.
Spencer
Yeah.
Turnbull. And you
Yep.
got Thor Lovegood.
No, he was only with them for that 1 year.
He's not there
unfortunately.
anymore.
Thor is gone.
Gotcha.
Then we have Ranger Suarez.
Wait, no. Wait, I thought maybe Ranger Suarez is the guy that I like better. Wait,
Ranger Suarez is also a lefty.
wait,
You can look him
maybe
up.
I was thinking about Ranger Suarez.
And
There's-
then Taiwan Walker is the... Oh, and Christopher Sanchez. They have
Yes.
a lot of good pitchers.
Ranger
Ranger's
Suarez.
your favorite. Sorry, Jose Alvarado.
Wait, let me see who Jose Alvarado is.
I think you would also like Jose Alvarado. But yeah, that's the Pelicans point guard. But yeah, Ranger Suarez,
Jose Alvarado.
Phillies.
MLB.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Jose Alvarado is my second favorite.
There you go.
So I like Ranger Suarez number one, and then Jose Alvarado.
You like the lefties.
Yeah, I like those guys. And then my third favorite is the long hair guy, the Wheeler. No, not Wheeler.
Marsh.
No,
Turnbull.
no,
Nola.
the pitcher. I'm just talking pitchers.
Nola has long hair.
Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
Then I like
Nola's my favorite.
Wheeler after that.
Yeah.
But in terms of my favorite players,
Wheeler
Bryce
has no
Harper.
hair.
Bryce Harper is my favorite one. And then I like what's his name? I like Castellanos a lot. I like Castellanos because
You and Castellanos have similar hair.
yeah, he hit a home run after when the guy was getting fired, so I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then who's my least favorite?
None of them.
My least
That's
favorite.
the correct answer.
I haven't seen that guy.
None of them.
I haven't seen Rojas get hit at all, and I've watched a lot of games. So
He's getting better. He's getting better.
he's getting better. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I feel like he's the one weak spot.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a weak spot or no? Is he?
I mean, hitting wise, yeah, but his defense is so good.
Oh, his defense is good.
He's kind of like a basketball player. Who's
Actually,
like
Trey Turner's my least
locked down on
favorite.
defense.
I haven't seen a Trey Turner game at all, so
Well, he's been hurt,
he's my least favorite.
so
Since he got
wow. Okay, harsh.
No, he's still new.
Got hurt.
You have to pick
Now-
one person.
Okay, you don't though. You put yourself. My least favorite.
Who's your least favorite?
I don't have one.
All right, hard-hitting questions with Owen about Philadelphia.
I don't have a
Phillies.
least favorite
If you had to pick one,
on the current roster.
yep, currently, and they have to be in the starting lineup or starting pitcher rotation.
They have to be a starter. I
Yep.
don't even get to pick from the roster.
Nope.
Jeez, dude,
Nope, has to be a
that's
starter.
rough. I mean, I don't know. I guess Castellanos is the most replaceable, technically.
Nick Castellanos, you're replaceable according to Owen.
In the current lineup, like if I had to, I don't
So is
like
he-
this.
is he
I'm
your
running
least-
the crash course.
Is he your least favorite then?
I guess.
Wow.
But I love Nick Castellanos. I don't. This is a bad. I don't like this
Dang,
at all.
I thought.
I don't like the
why are
position you put me in.
Why are you hating on your team?
I'm not.
Yeah,
I
you
just said I love Nick
You
Castellanos.
just said that he's
If I
your
had to
least
pick,
favorite.
all right, we're moving on from this.
Owen says, "quote Nick Castellanos is replaceable.
He's the most replaceable.
He's the most replaceable."
out of an elite team. That's 40 and 18 as of recording.
That's not what you
this.
said. You're
Yeah,
adding all
yeah,
these
yeah.
stipulations onto that.
Okay.
You just said Nick Castellanos is replaceable.
Is there anything else that you want to know about the Phillies to wrap up your crash course?
No. It was kind of depressing, honestly.
First to 10,000 losses,
Yeah.
2 championships in like 100 and almost 50 years. One every 75.
It's pretty bad.
Hopefully they win one this year, and it would be the
One every 50 years.
It would be the closest because they went from 80. They waited 97 years, and then from 80 to 2008 was 28 years. If they win it this year, 2008 to now, 16 years.
So you go from 77
Yeah, with 97. Let's do the math here. Yeah, 97 to 28, and then from that, from 28 to 16.
So 97.
Hypothetically, if they're able to win it this year,
So that's 3.46.
times. Wait, what did you? What
And then you have what? Then you have what?
What?
28 divided by 16.
Yeah,
1.75.
Okay, so
So-
what's that rate of
So the rate,
decreasing?
1.75 divided by
Was it 3
3.46.
Okay.
A 0.5 rate or
What is
Or-
the math we're doing right now? What does this mean?
0.5 RPD, meaning that it decreases by 50% year over year.
Or championship over championship.
Championship over championship.
Okay. All right. So that means that they should, if they win this year, then it
They'll
should be
win
8
8
years to the next one, and then 4,
Which is-
and then 2, and then they just win every championship ever for the rest of time.
Right.
If our math is correct.
It's an exponential growth curve, except it's in the opposite direction.
Well, it's years between championships, so
years
it's a
between
decrease.
championships decrease. So
Yeah.
instead of exponential growth like this,
You don't want the years between championships to grow.
no, it's like an exponential growth curve like this.
Oh, so this is the math section that Luke and I were talking about. This is what we need to figure out. So yeah, current team 40-18, best record in the league. Hopefully can win a World Series in the Bryce Harper era because he's already a Philly icon.
And we
It'd be
need to
great if
retire
Phillies could
his
win it.
jersey.
If he wins
Which
World
jersey is
Series, they'll retire his jersey.
Number. All right, give me. Is it single digits?
Yes.
I knew it was. I think I know it actually. Number 2.
So close.
No, is it number 1?
Nope.
Oh, number 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, one more bonus fun fact that's completely random and not really helpful, but just a fun thing. You heard of Roger Clemens?
I have. He was back in like the olden times.
Yeah, he was a really good pitcher. His son is on the Phillies, Cody Clemens. So just a fun little the fun fact there.
Interesting. I thought
Roger Clemens' son.
I thought he was like a 1920s type of guy. I guess not.
Roger Clemens was like the 90s.
Gotcha. He was the steroid era.
Yes, he's not in the Hall of Fame because of steroids. So
that's funny.
Yeah. Yep. Ended the Phillies crash course with Roger Clemens, as we expected. So yeah, you'll be quizzed in 2 weeks if you're.
Man. I'm up for the task.
Yeah.
You better not have.
Luke and I will put together a quiz.
You better not have Your Baseball Was Founded on there because I know it.
Okay. Luke and I will have to discuss how we're setting up the quiz because we could do an extensive Phillies quiz, but we'll probably figure out.
If you have that question, it's going to be 1883. I know the answer.
Okay.
First World Series was 98 years after that. No, 99. 97.
There you go. Yeah.
97, which means that was 1990.
You're like studying already.
Or 1980.
Yep.
1980. 1980.
The year my parents were born.
1980, 2008, 1980, 2008.
Yep.
2024.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. All right, I got it. I'm locked in.
Yes. Yeah. There we go. That was the Phillies crash course with Parker Wolf. Next episode, he will be quizzed. We got to decide when we're giving Luke his Sixers crash course sometime over the summer. So that he can go into the season.
Prepared. Ready to go with Sixers knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be very fun to see him learn about basketball.
Yes.
He's not a basketball guy, which I don't understand it.
Well, as has been well documented.
Yeah.
Peglia, not a basketball guy.
Yeah, very, very well documented.
So, yeah. And I don't know as much about Sixers history as I do Phillies. Like, I could tell him about the process era, but I couldn't tell him much prior.
Well, I mean, we can get into that later, but...
Teaser. We'll get to it. Maybe not next episode, but we know next episode 2 of season 3 of the season 3 brand.
Season 3 brand.
And Bryce Harper, number 3. 3 is his brand.
The Bryce brand.
Season 3 for Bryce Harper and Allen Iverson.
AI brand.
Who's an Eagles player that was really good that wore number 3. They've only allowed single digits recently. So
never mind. No, he was a Sixers player, not an Eagles player.
Yeah, I was trying to think of 3, big number in Philly, but Iverson and Harper. So yeah, season 3. Oh, maybe I could do a fun season 3 with Harper or I've got ideas now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think of the rebrand. Unless you don't like it, then sorry, too bad. It's been decided. It's happened. So too late. Next week Parker will be quizzed. And we're talking only about Philly sports. This has been all Philly all the time. Bye.
We'll see you next week.
Well, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.